It was a Thursday evening when Michael pulled into his driveway, exhausted from another long day at work. The house was lit warmly from the inside, the windows glowing in the dark like beacons of comfort. The sight should have eased him, but something about it made his stomach tighten. He knew his wife, Claire, and their 2 children always waited for him before dinner. But tonight, the curtains shifted slightly, and for the briefest moment, he thought he saw someone pass by. A shadow with his build, his movements. Michael shook his head, telling himself he was overtired. He grabbed his briefcase and stepped out into the cool night air. Before entering, he pulled out his phone to check the security feed. It was habit. He liked to see the kids running around, Claire setting the table. But as he tapped the screen, his heart stopped. On the feed, the dining table was full. His wife sat at the head, the kids chattering as they passed plates of food. And seated at the other end of the table was him. Not someone who looked like him. Not a blurry shape. It was him. His exact face, his exact clothes, the tired expression he'd worn all week. He was inside, eating with his family. Michael froze on the porch, his breath visible in the cold air. He glanced at the front door, still locked, still untouched. His hands shook as he watched the screen. The children laughed at something the other Michael had said. Claire smiled warmly at the man across from her, the same smile she had given him for years. Michael's real phone nearly slipped from his grip. His voice cracked in a whisper. That's me. The logical part of his mind screamed it was impossible. Maybe the footage was delayed, maybe some bizarre technical glitch. But the timestamp was current. The feed was live. Every movement inside matched the sounds faintly leaking through the walls, the clinking of forks, the low hum of laughter. He was standing outside, and yet he was also inside. He forced himself to unlock the door. The click of the lock sounded far too loud, almost foreign. Slowly, he stepped into the entryway. The warmth of the house hit him, the faint smell of roasted chicken lingering in the air. From where he stood, the dining room should have been visible through the archway. But when he peeked in, his family was not there. The table was empty, the plates neatly stacked, the room silent. Confusion twisted his stomach. He glanced at the phone again. On the screen, his family was still seated, eating, talking, living. The other version of him raised a glass of water and took a slow sip, his eyes lifting to stare directly into the camera. Michael's real body went cold. His double was looking at him. Suddenly, Claire's voice drifted in from the living room. "Michael, is that you?" He swallowed hard and stepped forward. She was sitting on the couch, book in hand, the kids upstairs judging by the thump of footsteps. Everything was normal. Too normal. He forced a smile and said, "Yeah, just got home." She didn't seem to notice his unease, but Michael couldn't shake the image of what he had seen. Later that night, after the kids went to bed and Claire had fallen asleep beside him, Michael couldn't rest. His mind replayed the scene over and over. The other him, sitting at the table, so at ease, so natural. He slipped out of bed and checked the feed again. His chest seized. The dining room was once more filled with the soundless image of dinner. His family laughing, eating, while the second version of himself sat with them. Only this time, the double wasn't eating. It was staring directly at the camera, smiling. Michael's hands trembled as he gripped the phone. He glanced back toward the real dining room, dark and silent. Then, suddenly, on the feed, his double lifted a finger to its lips and made the quiet gesture. His stomach dropped. It knew he was watching. For weeks, it continued. Every night, when his family thought he was asleep, he'd check the cameras. And every night, there they were. His wife, his kids, the duplicate of himself sitting with them at the table. Sometimes the double spoke to the children, though Michael couldn't hear the words. Sometimes it leaned in close to Claire, whispering something that made her smile. Michael began to dread coming home. dread the false dinners replaying endlessly. One night, as the rain poured outside, Michael gathered the courage to confront it. He set his phone on record and watched as the duplicate sat with his family. This time, though, the camera view shifted, slowly, unnaturally, as if someone inside had moved it. Michael's double rose from the chair, walked closer, and leaned so close to the lens that only its eyes filled the frame. Identical eyes. His own. A faint voice whispered through the speaker, "You don't belong here." The feed went black. The next morning, Michael's phone wouldn't power on. The dining table was empty again, the chairs tucked neatly. Claire greeted him as always, but something in her smile felt distant, off, as though she was looking through him rather than at him. That night, as Michael lay in bed, his son whispered from the doorway, "Daddy, why were you at dinner twice yesterday?" Michael didn't sleep after that. He didn't want to know the answer. If you enjoyed this terrifying story, don't forget to like this video, leave a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel for more spine-chilling true horror stories.